A great feature in Keynote is the ability to group slides. Here you see my agenda. I've got 4 main topics in my agenda. 1 is using Sibelius to create preparatory material for improvisation. 2 is common jazz rhythms. 3 is putting together scales and rhythms to form a solo. And number 4, which is MIDI guitar setup. I like to use a MIDI guitar when I'm doing this workshop. Now, how I can organize my material is I go to my first title slide, which is creating the preparatory material. I can select this slide and move it to the right, so it's a subset of that title slide, creating preparatory material. Select the slide, and to move it as a subset, I press Tab, and you can see here's a triangle indicating on this slide that there is a slide below it in the hierarchy, a subset if you will, and here's the slide. Notice that when the slide is in the subset, it moves 1 to the right. To take the next slide, I'd also like to add it under that same title. This time, instead of pressing the Tab key to move it 1 to the right, I'll click and hold and drag it to the right. As I drag it to the right, observe there's a blue line with a blue triangle. That shows me that I'm making this a subset. Release it, and now you can see the 2 of them are lined up. Let's take the next slide. Click and hold, drag it over to the right, and now it's a subset. And you can see these 3 slides belong with this title slide. Let's take this slide and move it over also. Click and hold, drag it over. It's moved into the same subset. If I click and hold, I can drag it again and move it even further so there's a subset of my subset. So you can create a whole hierarchy of how you're going to work with your slides. To move a slide back so that it's on the same level as this slide, I click and hold and drag it to the left. Here, I'm going to take this slide and drag it 2 over, and notice it's a subset of the slide above. Another way to change the level is to move it back by holding down the Shift key and tapping the Tab key. Now I've gone back 1 level. If I held down Shift Tab again, it will be on the same level as my title slide. And I'm going to press Tab to get it back so that it belongs with the correct set. Here's my next title, Jazz Rhythms for Improvisation. I can take a number of slides that all belong together, in this case these 2, and move them at the same time. I click on the first slide, hold down the Shift key, click on the second slide, and drag them over to the right. Again, I see my blue line with a blue triangle, which indicates it's 1 level below my title slide. Release, and there we go. Here's my next title slide, and it only has 1, so I'm going to select it and tap the Tab key. My MIDI guitar setup has 1, 2, 3 slides. I can move all 3 slides at the same time. I select the first slide and click on it. Hold down the Shift key and click on the last slide, and you can see all 3 slides have been selected. Press the Tab key to move it over 1 in the hierarchy. So here you can see I've created a hierarchy of my slides. On the title slides, we see the triangle pointing down, which shows the slides that are within that hierarchy. I can click on the triangle and collapse those slides. And this is a way that I can quickly move around. If I want to go to creating preparatory material, that takes me into that slide, and then I can expand it and work on the slides that belong there. If I want to go down to the next section, I can click on MIDI guitar setup and do the same thing. I can expand the selection, or I can contract it. By using this slide option, you can see the organizational layout of your slides.